Well, for more on the humanitarian situation in Gaza, let's speak with Tommaso Dela Longa. He's a spokesperson for the International Federation of the Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies. Really good to have you back with us, Tommaso. As we've been reporting, the conflict in Gaza has passed the 100-day mark, yet the situation is only seemingly getting worse. Can you explain to us how the humanitarian situation in Gaza has deteriorated over the last 100 days?
Yes, absolutely. First of all, thanks for having me back today with you. I would say, as we heard from other colleagues, is that the more the conflict will go ahead, the more needs will continue to rise and increase. We need to think about one point here. The situation in the Gaza Strip was complicated, even on the humanitarian side, even before the last conflict. We're talking about people who were living thanks to the humanitarian aid arriving inside the strip. We're talking about people living in the UN shelters and in the school and so on. Now, this conflict has exacerbated all of these. And of course, needs are unprecedented in terms of level of destruction, lack of access, lack of humanitarian aid, and of course, lack of safety for civilians first, but also for humanitarian workers. And of course, without safety, there is no humanitarian operation. So this is why the situation is continuing to deteriorate. I would say that it's beyond catastrophic. And the greatest frustration is that we know how it's needed, but we are not able to deliver because we don't have the means to deliver.
Yes, and we've heard from organisations like yours and including the United Nations just how bad the humanitarian situation is. In fact, you've made those warnings essentially since the beginning of this conflict, which broke out on October 7th. Yet we have world powers such as the United States still refusing to call for a ceasefire. It must be very frustrating at your end that some of the most powerful countries in the world are still refusing to call for an end to hostilities there.
Well, of course, when we are looking at the situation, when Palestine Red Crescent colleagues are telling us what is happening in Gaza Strip, frustration is huge. I want to say something here. The Red Cross was born more than 150 years ago on a battlefield in Solferino, in my country, northern part of Italy. And actually, the great part of the idea of the Red Cross was that healthcare workers and wounded people needs to be respected and protected by everyone. And this is the basic, the basis of the idea of humanitarianism for humanity. And when we are lacking access, when we are lacking safety, when we are lacking humanitarian assistance, it means that we are going back decades on what was agreed between the international community, that neutrality is critical, that healthcare workers are untouchable, that hospitals are sanctuaries, and civilians in whatever situation are always and must always be protected and respected. So, of course, when we are seeing this situation, yes, the frustration is huge, but we do hope that with dialogue and diplomatic effort, the situation can also change.
Yes, and we know there are no shortage of countries looking to send aid into Gaza, but those efforts have been hampered by Israeli authorities, many of whom are refusing to allow adequate or even any aid convoys through the Rafah border crossing between Egypt and Gaza. Some countries have resorted to airdropping supplies. How essential is it that this aid is successfully delivered?
Of course, it's critical, it's life-saving. And we have been saying this since the beginning, that together with access and safety, we need also a continuous flow and an increased continuous flow of humanitarian aid. But on this, I also want to make a point. The humanitarian agencies, as Red Cross and many others, are not the solution of the problem. We can alleviate suffering, yes. We can save life, yes. But then the political world, the diplomatic world, the president of states, the parties in a conflict need to find a solution. And the only solution can be a political one. For us, of course, again, we were born on a battlefield and we are more than ready to increase our work whenever we will have the possibilities and the capacities. But again, this conflict, the people in Gaza and the hostages needs all answers, and these answers can come only from the international community and with a political solution.
Okay, Tommaso, Dela, Longa, we will have to leave it there. But thanks, as always, for joining us, and best of luck with your work in Gaza.
Thank you.